Hello sports fans, Mauricio here. Well, this video is about getting used to Visual Studio, and there's two versions. VisualStudio.net, which is, I would say, the flagship programming environment from Microsoft, and then a VS Code. You can download both of these onto your home systems, and then just connect to your home database, and you could publish your files to GitHub or some other system. But let's just talk about what you need to get through MIS372. This content is also for MIS325, which is, coding class. So we'll use Visual Studio one version or the other, connecting to our database, the whole semester. That's for me. That's just global campus students. But so since it is time to start 372, I'll start here and again show we're using. There's two ways to handle software for this class. The first way is just and the only way for Mac users. The first way is to use the virtual desktop provided by WSU. And so if you click this link in your canvas, then it pops up and then you see this screen. This is as of 8/23/26. And then you would just click this first one, and then you would see this environment. So this is the virtual desktop. So just backing up a second, the MIS372 has a virtual desktop software. You could also download software onto your notebook computer or whatever. MIS372 also has a textbook, so that's free also. This virtual desktop is free. I'm sure there was a fee that you paid. Then there we go. Then your humble professor has YouTube playlist called Learn SQL Fast. And let me just click on that for a second. That's what I showed on the very first video. So so this is where a lot of the content is. I provide a lot of documents, but the videos, are a much easier way to learn. I would put the audio on double speed though. All right, so I guess it's three different heavy systems. Your virtual desktop, where you do the typing, a textbook where you learn conceptual, and a bunch of videos, and it's all relatively free. And I change and make additions to the YouTube channel. And so the YouTube channel is here, and you could share that with anyone you like. And I do encourage you to watch the first couple of videos. So number 2 is here somewhere, but here it is. But in today's video, I want to install or get access to Visual Studio. So if I just type V for Visual Studio, I'm going to click open here, and let's just see how this works. It didn't ask me to do anything with the GitHub, but I was just messing with that. So let me back up a second. Visual Studio, and continue without code. So this is what it looks like when you turn it on. I'll just go ahead and continue. File, open website. We do that the same way every time. So WSU students should have made an account made for you inside the IIS Microsoft server. So basically a Microsoft server has accounts on it, and we use Visual Studio or VS Code to make web pages on that server. So we're going to use VisualStudio.net, which you see in front of you, to open your website, which will be assigned, or I imagine you can make your own website, but one was or should be created for you. I'll show you mine. So, but the concept is file open website, and and you will be assigned a website to use. You can sit at any computer and still access the same website. So if you live in Pullman for the semester and then you drive to Portland and don't bring your laptop, you can use somebody else's laptop and then just connect to the virtual desktop and then get access to your website or your database actually through this Visual Studio. And so the point I'm trying to make is you save the web pages to a web server, and so it doesn't matter where you design and create the page, they're stored on a web server at WSU, an account's made for you. You can also save your content to a non-WSU server and GitHub, and that's gonna, I'm sure, pop up in here. So it's interesting. It says, do you want to mess with GitHub Copilot? So Copilot, it says I'm kind of logged in here, but one of these will allow maybe right here. Yeah, so here's so that cute little thing there, that's Copilot. So if you're looking at some code and it doesn't work, just copy the code into this Copilot. Say, please explain it to me. But I did not open my website yet. But the point I was trying to make is you get one website. In that website, you could put several folders, you know, in classwork or assignments or final project or, you know, playing around. So I encourage you to make several folders. So one website, several folders. In each folder, you can have many web pages. So we always open the same, or you will always open the same website. And then you go into your website. You could be anywhere. Your computer, another person's computer, a hotel's computer, a library's computer. And then you have to know what your address is. And so these will be published, and this is a backslash, which is on my computer right above the enter button. And so if you were to use the wrong /, you notice this open icon or button over here doesn't work. So make sure you use the backslash on this screen here. But of course, it's in the URL, it's a /, but here to get to this folder, it's a backslash. So something else to remember. But you will have an account that says something like MF63 or something, first name dot last name. So I'll publish that. So I'm just showing you how to log into my account. This is not how you log into your account because you're not Featherman. Lucky for you. So I'll just hit open there. So I'm just showing you. And before I forget, I'm going to right click and pin this Visual Studio to the taskbar here. And so not needing Copilot at the second. Yeah, so you just click View, Solution Explorer, and then you get to see all your programs. And so, of course, I've been at this quite a while. So that's how you get Visual Studio. I'm sure there's a lot of other things that could have went wrong there. So let me just click that again and think what could go wrong. When I first turned it on, it said Copilot, GitHub, and I was just like, okay, I dealt with it. But I don't think you have to. You can probably start without it. But if you do have to, which I think the next program will make me demonstrate this. But if you can just get away without using GitHub for the month, that's probably faster. So continue without code, and then file open website, and you're going to be making many different web pages inside your website. And so you should see a globe. That's how you know you're on your web server, and then you can add a new folder and several folders, and then you can add a new item in a folder. Interesting. This is a little bit different. Yeah. So we'll see if this is all set up correctly. Well, this version is quite different. So this is how you would add a new folder. I'm just gonna, there's nothing should go wrong there, but I'm gonna add a new item in a folder. And so let's say I wanted to add a file called test3.aspx. So we are using ASPX and ASPX active server pages, and then we'll write procedures in there. This is a little different this semester, but then you would click View Toolbox, so that you can have the toolbox on the side here, and then pin that, and then you would have these controls that you can drag onto the form. Let's see if it works. Yeah, it works just fine. So this is actually quite different than last year, but that's it should work fine. So that's how you would save it, and I didn't save it into a folder, but that's how you would make a web page. So let's see what happens when we try VS Code. This is VisualStudio.net, Microsoft's flagship programming environment called IDE, Integrated Development Environment. So it's basically 10,000 class files and a compiler which runs your code. To turn it off, file exit, and you can or save or don't save, it doesn't really matter. Alright, so we'll get rid of this, and then the other one is called VS Code. So we'll go ahead and open that. This is quite modern, quite lightweight, and it's not complaining at all, which is quite surprising. This is also heavily, so there's Copilot on the side here, and then it just seems to be working, so I'm not gonna really worry about it, but we'll be using VS Code. I might as well pin this here. Pin to taskbar. So in MIS372 we're going to use SSMS 80%. We will foray into Power BI and maybe Tableau, but maybe not. There'll be a little bit of Visual Studio just to connect those two, so the web page runs the stored procedures so that you can do business operations. When we get in, so SSMS and a couple weeks of VisualStudio.net, that's MIS372. MIS325 will be a couple weeks of VisualStudio.net as a refresh, and then the whole rest of the course will be this newer VS Code, and maybe we'll have 1 week of Hocus Pocus AI. Let's make agents, and I've been playing with that all summer, so that should be fun, or at least something new. Just as a note, in MIS372, you'll for your final project, you'll make a database and a data model and the database and put data in there, and then it's kind of up to you. I do want to see a web page interaction, so you could use VisualStudio.net or VS Code. The other alternative is, so I want you to make a system that works, which requires a web page, requires a database, and requires Power BI for some reports, which is the easy part. In MIS, you could also just do a heavy analytics project, not data science, but you can do a heavy analytics project in MIS372 as well. MIS325, which I only teach Global Campus, will use quite heavily VS Code, and that'll be fun, and that's Python, so that's pretty popular also. All right, folks, so that's how to get started with SSMS, VisualStudio.net, and VS Code. VS Code is kind of a lightweight software, and that is where we'll use Python. VS Code is where we'll use VisualBasic.net code. Very easy first language. You take care. Keep playing.